Hi guys, um I did this video maybe a year and a half ago and I got a lot of responses, but I was not as far in my walk with Christ as I am now. So I kind of gave it from a different perspective. And I just want to redo this video because I think it's one of the most helpful, truly, um, for anyone, because I think people are going to need to know this information very, very soon. So, um, it was a long time ago. This was not a recent dream, but I will always remember this dream. And it was probably, my son is 8, so I'm gonna say maybe 7 years ago. It was maybe 7 years ago that I had this dream. And when I have dreams like this, as I'm explaining these scenes, unless I'm actually in the physical person, I am above, floating above, like in the corner of a room, or just floating up, like in the street, in the air, and I'm just watching everything play out. So that's the perspective. So initially, the initial scene that I saw was a street in a downtown core, and the street was like filled with people who were all trying to hear what this man had to say, and these people just looked desperate. I had an immediate sense of knowing that there had been a worldwide crisis, like something was wrong. This was not a normal day in the street and like a press conference or something. This was an emergency state. So this man was telling people, if you have your chip, you can come forward and we will connect you with a ship to get you to your children. Those of you who need to be chipped, go to the left. Those of you who already have your chips, go with these people. Like, he was just yelling out to these people these kind of commands. And keep in mind, at this time in my life, I did not even know that there was a book of Revelations in the Bible. I knew Christ, but I did not know enough. I wasn't opening up my Bible like that. If I did, I would go to the usuals like John or Matthew, and I didn't really take it in like that. I was pretty much just, I just believed that Jesus was real. I wasn't really learning and actively seeking him. So he's telling all of this to these people, and all of a sudden, I get flashed into a ship. And in this ship, it was like those rides at the fair where you spin around really fast and your back is stuck to the wall and it looks like a spaceship. That was the same type of round design. And in the middle, there was like a, I don't know what to say, like a battery or like a computer system or something, like a storage system, a hard drive, I guess, like a huge one right in the middle. And all around the walls of the ship, it was just like lit up, different lights lighting up, and buttons and switches and like screens and stuff like that. And there were people all around the sides of the ship, the inside of the ship, just standing around, and they were really, really scared. And there were people from all over the world. This was not just like a bunch of people from Canada, a bunch of people from the States. This was, I remember who these people were. There were 2 African tribesmen, literally still wearing their African garb, like they still had on clothing that was not fitting for anywhere else but Africa. So I would imagine they directly came from there. There were a large group of like Asian, I want to say, like they were speaking like Mandarin. So they were there talking to each other, and they were really, it seemed like they were, like, I knew that they were just talking like, okay, when these people come, he's gonna talk for us. And like the women were telling the men what to say. Like, they were just really concerned and really, they just wanted their kids back. And then there was like a small old like Irish woman, and she was just like, she was so scared that she was just like paralyzed. She was just standing there, just like, I don't even think she knew what to think, and she was all alone. And then I was just watching from above, and the doors opened, they slid open, and this thing came in. And it was like, it was so strange because you couldn't see these things. Like, I could see from the spiritual that they were just these beings. Like, there was no physical to them. They were just like a black mist type of thing. Like, they were just there. but they were checking a list. Like, I just knew that they knew to check a list and to ensure that these people had the chip. And once they checked the first person's list or name on the list and they saw that they had been chipped, immediately they took out this gun type of thing and they killed the person. And I was like, I'm just watching from above, and I was able to feel the fear. Like, it was so real. This feeling was so real that I honestly couldn't even figure out in the spiritual where I was and what was happening. Like, it was the craziest, most surreal feeling ever when the first person got shot, because you could feel the fear of the people waiting around. And I could feel, like, as he moved his gun to go to the next person, I would go down and be in that person's physical, and I would feel their fear, and I would feel them knowing that this was all a lie. Like, I could actually get emotional, because that is just a feeling that people have in near-death experiences, in tragedies that requires, like, therapy. You know what I mean? It's just so raw and so real. And they went around the whole ship and they killed everyone. And I just knew another part of this too. I didn't see this person on the street in the ship, but I knew that there was this man, and he was like the most gorgeous looking. His skin was like so pure white, but it wasn't like Caucasian white. I can't even describe it. He was just the most pure looking man ever. And he had this long, like, white hair. Like, if you saw him, you wouldn't even believe that he was real. He looked so perfect and so pure white. And he was in charge. And he just had this way about him that when he entered a room, everyone would look at him and they would just feel, this man knows what he's doing. And he just looked like he was in charge and he had it under control. And he was the head of this operation. So as my life went on, I went through many different spiritual phases before I came to know Christ. And in these spiritual phases, I went through the ascension process. And during this time, I started to do a lot of in-depth research, because something just didn't sit well with me with what I was reading. And I think having the Christian background and just having that knowing, like, the Lord just puts it into your soul. You just know that he's real, and you will never feel 100% comfortable in these avenues, because it's not the pure truth, and we are designed to seek his truth. So one time I was looking something up because I had worked with a stone, and it's a green stone, and it's called moldavite. And when I was doing my work with the stone, it would keep disappearing. And when I bought this stone, the energy was so great that it would take you over. Like, it was almost like you would feel weak, and my dreams started to get really out of control, and I had to move it to the basement. And I was seeing, I can't believe I work with this stuff, guys. It's crazy. I was seeing like Indian spiritual guides and stuff like that. I wasn't seeing any type of heavenly anything. No white robes was going on. It was just a totally different thing. And then the stones would end up disappearing. So as I researched, I drew a connection between this stone and the tablet that fell with Lucifer. And this led me to research more into the demonic, the fallen angels, the names of these angels, and something stood out to me. Now, in the ascension process, there are people waiting for a grand event. And this event is supposed to be when an alien leader, a multitude of leaders from an alien group called Ashtar and the Galactic Command will band together and come to save Earth from a coming and sudden destruction. Okay, are you with me? So I got to researching this Ashtar because it sounded a lot to me like Ashtaroth from the days of Genesis and Noah. As I did this research, everything fell into my lap. I came to realize that my dream was a direct vision of the tribulation times, and of the grand deception that's going to take place on this earth. If you are left behind for the tribulation times, do not get a chip for any reason. The kids are gone. They're safe. They're gone. And your main focus is to make it through and die as a martyr. If you have to go and get your head cut off, that's what has to happen. But we cannot fall for the deception that is coming. And it is a grand, worldwide destruction and deception. So please stay focused on the Lord and ask him for clarity on this message if you feel that maybe it sounds a little too far-fetched or whatever the case may be. But there are no such thing as aliens. But we know that Satan will masquerade as an angel, a bringer of light and peace. And just don't fall for it, guys. God bless.